Look, we don't need a long explanation on what this video is. You know why you're here. You're looking for a class to hyperburn. Like many others before me, I have recommendations of my own, and I will be posing mine under lists that fall under very specific categories. And they won't be the best of the best in every case. These are not top 10 lists, but they are classes that excel or fit into each category really well. You'll get the hang of what I'm doing really quickly. Kicking it off with bossing, particularly crayon-eating bossers, the brain dead, the easy. These classes either have simple rotations, just general lack of buttons to press, or they are so incredibly survivable that the only way you're going to fail is if you straight up leave your computer. And my recommendations are Hero, Buccaneer, Dawn Warrior, Bowmaster, Paladin, Mihiel, Dark Knight, Lyn, and Wind Archer. Some traits that you're going to find among this cast of characters are low cooldown iframes, percent health damage reduction, a general low amount of buttons to press, high mobility, and even in a couple cases, downright immortality under most circumstances. Some of the classes in this list are the single best classes at what they can do. Buccaneer has almost unrivaled mobility with only a few classes that can hold a candle to them, all the while having very frequent percent health damage reduction just as a passive ability. Mihiel and Paladin are two of the most survivable classes in the entire game, both boasting passive percent health damage reduction at all times, with Mihiel having the single best iframe in the game. Now Dark Knight is no slouch of survivability either. They have iframes, a parry, percent health damage reduction, and even a flexible cheat death that allows you to be either invincible for a long period of time after dying, or have very frequent cheat deaths on a low duration. Or maybe you would like to cheese many bosses with the best taunt in the game from Wind Archer. The one thing that all of these classes have in common is that they are incredibly easy to execute, whether it be from having not many buttons to press at all, or just a lot of cooldowns to press, but then after that you're pretty much just spamming one button and you can focus on survivability. So what about the opposite? What if you don't want a brain dead class and you want a class to really show off your skill with? Well, these are classes that I consider to be rather difficult to play. Again, not a top 10 list, not the most difficult, just ones that I recommend for hyperburns and that I think people might enjoy. That being said, my list is Blaster, Kadena, Ho Young, Evan, Mercedes, Arc, Demon Avenger, Adele, and Kali. The commonality among many of the classes on this list is that they have a lot of different buttons they need to press, very small cooldowns they need to manage in order to optimize their DPS. So if you particularly don't enjoy one button classes like Dawn Warrior, Buccaneer, or Hero for example, these might be classes you actually enjoy. They have very intricate rotations and the reward is for most of them pretty damn good. Now again, that doesn't apply to all of them. From what I understand, Demon Avenger is difficult because they're actually quite squishy despite their HP scaling. They basically exist at a lower HP percentage than most other people, and as a result, a lot of things that would kill other classes would kill a Demon Avenger trying to do max DPS. Again, I actually don't know this for certain, I'm just parroting information that I've been told through other people, so if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. I do, however, know that the other 9 classes are decently challenging to play, some incredibly challenging. If you would like the ultimate challenge, go chase after Blaster. I covered the easy bossers, I covered the difficult bossers. What about just really durable bossers, the really hard to kill ones, which obviously is going to have some overlap with the easy bossing list. Recommendations for this are Mihiel, Hero, Demon Slayer, Dual Blader, Ho Young, Dawn Warrior, Dark Knight, Paladin, and Buccaneer. So as I explained before, Mihiel and Paladin are basically just invincible all of the time. They are incredibly difficult to kill for numerous reasons. Buccaneer does have really good percent HP damage reduction as well, but theirs is not up 100% of the time, although with skillful play, you can have some control over it, just you might lose some DPS. Hero has a very short cooldown iframe, and unlike a class like Shadower, theirs is not tied to their DPS, so you can save it and use it when you need it. Demon Slayer and Dual Blader both also have low cooldown iframes that don't need to be used for their DPS, as well as both having passive lifesteal, which is an incredibly useful tool. Ho Young also has a low cooldown iframe, as well as a teleporter and a Nimbus Cloud, which is kind of a cool tool that I just personally really like. As for Dawn Warrior, most of us know already, they have a low cooldown iframe, they have a teleport to get them out of sticky situations, and as a Cygnus Knight, they have access to some low percent health damage reduction. As for Dark Knight, they're just tanky, they're really hard to kill. They take a little bit more skill than Paladin and Mihiel, but you can achieve a very similar effect with them. Okay, so enough of bossers. What if you just want a really good mobber? It's pretty unlikely for a hyperburn, most people want boss mules, but maybe you're looking for a new main that you just really want to grind the hell out of. Well, here are my recommendations for really easy but effective effective mobbers. Bishop, Bowmaster, Dawn Warrior, Shadower, Nightwalker, Demon Slayer, Mechanic, Cannon Master, and Buccaneer. Most of the classes in this list are not only capable of achieving a max mob per hour on any map they step foot in, but some of them are even capable of such low APMs that you might actually think you're playing Yuumi in League of Legends. I'll try to give you a quick rundown of each one. Bishop has a good AoE move with Big Bang, a summon that they can deploy, and feathers that will seek out straggler enemies, and not to mention Holy Symbol that gives them extra EXP. Bowmaster has a cohesive kit with Arrow Blaster and different toggles and passives that allow them to AFK clear well, not AFK, but just sit for 60 seconds at a time and just watch a map get spawn camped. Dawn Warrior has incredibly versatile and long-lasting map wiper abilities that allow them to just jump along the bottom of maps in combination with their deployable summon that make them effective mobbers even before they get Soul Janus. Shadowers with the right level of funding are capable of jumping along the bottom of a map, just spamming Cruel Stab and Meso Explosion and just watching the whole map die. But you do need enough gear for your Meso Explosion to basically one-shot enemies. Nightwalker can do more or less the same thing with Shadower, but instead with their bats, but what they can also do is do bite farming, which is also extremely low APM. Demon Slayer can do teleport farming, which is incredibly inefficient for mobs per hour, but it is also very lazy. But also with the buff they're getting in this patch, their map wiper attack is going down to a 6-second cooldown at all times, so Demon Slayer grinding is about to be a lot better. Mechanics have received numerous buffs over the last couple of years, but one thing they've always excelled at is grinding. They have summons, they have a button that they can basically just hold down and send out heat-seeking missiles to everything on the map. They can be very lazy grinders, and also very effective. Cannon Master has access to numerous summons that allow them to camp a lot of different maps very effectively, as well as a pretty large AoE once they get a 6th job. And for Buccaneer, everyone knows Lord of the Deep is a lot of fun. Once you get it to high enough damage, you can one-shot mobs, just jump around, which Buccaneer is very good at, and you got a very lazy but fun grinder. Next list, the underdogs. What this list is, it is simply the least played characters in the entire game, in order, starting with the least played. Blaze Wizard, Kinesis, Blaster, Wild Hunter, Thunderbreaker, Evan, Ilium, Kadena, and Cannon Master. Not much to say about these. Some of these are obviously underplayed because they're simply too difficult to play like Blaster and Kadena. Some just don't function very well like Thunderbreaker or Wild Hunter in some ways. But what a lot of them are they're very unique. Some of them can be really fun. I really love Thunderbreaker. And also Blaze Wizard got a lot of decent buffs this patch. I actually can't say I don't know exactly how buffed they got, but I know they got a lot of stuff, and their teleporter works like a Bowmaster's now, which I really dig. Now, adversely, if you would like to avoid some of the most overplayed classes, here is that list, starting with the most played. And I didn't mention it, but these are all at 260 plus. So the overplayed are Nightwalker, Dawn Warrior, Hero, Bishop, Nightlord, Shadower, Buccaneer, Angelic Buster, and Adele. Now for a list of my own recommendations. These don't belong to any category necessarily. Some of these are just getting significantly buffed by the balance patch we're getting, and others, I just like these classes, and I think you might too if you give them a chance. Starting with Blaze Wizard, Bowmaster, Wind Archer, Dual Blader, Paladin, all of the Explorer mages, I'll explain that in a second, Wild Hunter, Xenon, and Demon Slayer. So for the first 4, Blaze Wizard, Bowmaster, Wind Archer, and Dual Blader, all 4 of these classes are receiving pretty substantial buffs in various ways in the upcoming balance patch. Wind Archers are going to be able to walk while they're hurricaning, which is a really big deal, that being on top of pretty sizable damage buffs. Dual Blader getting massive buffs and a real up jump. Bowmaster also massive final damage buffs, which they really need. Blaze Wizard just getting overall positive changes, and it's one of the least played classes in the game. Paladin's not really changing much, but I think it's a class that most people just don't really pay much attention to, and their Grand Cross is becoming a lot better, doing its damage in a faster time, which is always good for burst damage, and also you're going to be able to move really fast while doing it, which was kind of a big pain point of it before. Now to explain the Explorer Mages part, this is simply because of the buff sorting feature we're getting in this patch. It's a quality of life feature that allows us to trim down the amount of buffs that are shown in the top right. If you play an Explorer Mage, you know how important Infinity is for them, and you really need to time it for specific times, and when there's like 40 buffs in the top right of your corner, it just gets lost in the mix, and that became really unpleasant for me. I did not enjoy that experience. But now I might give Mage another shot with these changes in mind. Wild Hunter may not have received substantial buffs like the previous classes I mentioned, but they did get some nice quality of life, especially to their already amazing grinding. The class may be a little clunky, but I do really believe in their future of potentially getting a rework or a refresh or something that just brings them into modern Maplestory a little bit better, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're bad right now, just some things feel a little clunky. But I do still think it's worth playing as it is right now. As for Xenon, they're getting a real up jump, and I do think that's a pretty big deal. I put a lot of emphasis on that. Demon Slayer, they're getting some pretty good buffs. The buff to the map wiper, really big deal for me. That makes their grinding significantly better. A 6-second like full map attack, it's obviously not gigantic, but it is pretty damn good. That is a big deal, and I really just think Demon Slayer is one of the most well-rounded classes in the entire game. They perform well, they have good iframes, they're tanky, they're kind of mobile in their own way, they got some clunkiness, a really good class overall. And look, maybe none of these classes appeal to you, maybe none of the classes in the game are really jumping out at you and you already have all the classes you enjoy made. In that case, go for good Legion blocks. Hayato and Shade both give crit damage, making these probably the single most important Legion blocks to level no matter what class you play. Demon Avenger and Kana both give boss damage. Blaster, Lin both give ignore enemy defense. Many classes will have the main stat of whatever your main is. Look, if you don't know what you want to hyperburn, maybe you don't have anything good in mind, maybe burn one of these, because at least you know, even if you don't like the class, you got something permanently useful out of it. And at least in the case of Shade, everybody gets to burn 2 characters, one of them guaranteed being an Aran or a Shade, so you know, a lot of people are probably going to pick Shades for the crit damage. But let me know what you intend on hyperburning down in the comments below, and maybe ask questions if you don't know enough about one of the classes you're interested in. And if you need a guild for your hyperburn on the Chronos Reboot server, join my guild Wyvern. I won't promise we're active in chat because we're really not, but maybe with people someday it will be. But hey, there's free crit damage. I don't ask you to do covert or anything, but I do need people to help me level it up, so maybe one day it can be a real guild. We're almost 20 and we need more mules. We need the workhorses, so you know, dump them in there. I don't care. It's like, it doesn't matter if they're there for a week. Please help me out. You can find that in game by searching it up, or you can join my community Discord and we'll figure it out.